Conversations with Two. Voice of the people, the crew for you.
Culture, creativity, knowledge, hope, opportunity, bring the light of minds. We shine, we break on through. Conversations with them too. Culture, creativity, knowledge, hope, opportunity. Your voice matters, your gift shine through. Conversations with them too.
Yeah. You are the stage. Shine.
Culture, creativity, knowledge, hope, opportunity. Your voice matters, your gift shine through. Conversation with
Hey.
Yo, family. What up? Welcome to another powerful edition of Conversations with Them Too. I'm your boy MJ, and
I'm your girl, Lady Des.
And together that makes us the Shenanigan Crew at our brand new time, 8 o'clock. That's right. And tonight we're going to bring you real conversations and real stories and real perspectives.
Yes, and tonight's conversation is a very meaningful one, y'all. We're talking about something that usually many families experience, but few people only talk about it. And what is that? Family secrets.
That's right. And we're talking about secrets that are sometimes hidden for years and even generations, because in our community, we tend to do that. We tend to hide stuff and pass it down and keep passing it down. Go ahead, Des.
Yeah. What they usually say, MJ, what stays in my house?
What happens in my house stays in my house.
Yeah, and that's the truth, MJ. Those hidden stories can shape how a person see themselves, how they move forward, how families relate to each other, and sometimes how generations move forward.
Now, tonight's episode is actually a special continuation of a conversation Lady Des had on her radio show freshly after I left. You know, she decided to do it after I left, but that's okay. You know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Okay. But no, you're right, MJ. The overwhelming response, and yes, we had to do a spinoff or talk about it even more, go deeper, because people was like, I wanted to hear more about this story. But yes, on Ladies Day Live Remix, we had a powerful segment called Seeing the Unseen, when God reveals the missing pieces of your story.
Okay. So I understand that the response was overwhelming because so many people had started to realize that sometimes there are hidden parts of the story that God reveals in his divine timing.
Right. So, and that was one of the things that we spoke about a lot of is divine timing. You know, a lot of times we tend to rush things, right? But we have to understand that God has a divine timing for everything. So all we have to do is just follow his will.
Absolutely. So tonight we're going to expand that conversation because this beautiful young lady couldn't have a conversation without me. I'm just saying.
We could have done it, but it's better. It's better with you, MJ. It is. Hey, listen, I ain't gonna lie. You were missed. I did call you and tell you that, right?
You did. Yes, you did. And you know, it won't be a whole lot of nights like that, but it's gonna be some nights like that.
Yeah, it'll get better.
Right.
But tonight you're here, and we're gonna dive into this conversation. We're gonna talk a little bit about what we discussed on Thursday night on Ladies Day Live, but tonight we're gonna dive in a little bit more on family secrets, the secrets that shape us, how hidden truths can affect us, who we are.
And tonight, joining us is our very special, beautiful guest, Miss Janeen Samantha Jones, who is an adoptee who found her biological mother after 46 years.
MJ, ain't that something?
I'm just, yeah, wow.
46 years. And let me tell you, her story speaks to identity, healing, forgiveness, discovering the missing pieces of her story.
Absolutely. So, Janine, first of all, welcome to Conversations with Them Two. I'm so sorry that I missed you on Thursday, but you're here now, and that's all that matters.
Timing, remember, timing is everything.
Timing is definitely everything. All right, so since she already warned you about me, I'm just gonna jump right in your business.
Jump right on in.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what was your experience growing up as an adoptee?
Wow, I will tell you that growing up as an adoptee was very interesting, to say the least, because first of all, as we're going to get a little deeper in this conversation, I did not know right away that I was adopted. So let me take you back some years, right? So a little bit of what you missed from the show is that I explained that at 8 years old, I remember sitting at the table with my brother, my mom, my dad. I looked at them and I was like, I just blurted out, I don't look like y'all. And my mom was just shocked. My brother, mind you, he's 9 years older than me. So he just kind of like dropped his fork. And then my dad, I'm a daddy's girl, and he looks at me and he's like, well, you look like your granddaddy. Mind you, I adored my grandfather. He was tall, slender. So I had some of his features. At 8 years old, I was happy with that and didn't question it. Now, fast forward, I want to say about 3 years later, here I am. I'm like 11, 12-ish years old. At this time, my father is an Air Force veteran, right? And at that time, he was still in the Air Force, but we were stationed in North Carolina. They went out, mind you, we're talking about, we're in the 80s now, 1980, okay? And it was safe. These are times when you're young, we're on a military base. I was home by myself, but then I was very inquisitive, bored. I started going through their file cabinet. I pulled out a piece of paper and it read, in reference, the adoption of Janeen Samantha Jones.
Wow.
Okay. So this was like maybe a filing or a court, something from court, right? And I was just like stunned, but right away, my refuge was my brother. So I called my brother. He's 9 years older than me. Of course, he's going to know if this is true. He's going to tell me about this. So when I called him, mind you, he was stationed, because he too was in the Air Force, but he was stationed at this time in South Carolina and just got married, just had a young baby. And we were about to go visit him that weekend. And when I called him and I said, hey, I need to read something to you, I read it to him and he said, hey, yes, it's true. You have to let them know that you know. If not, I have to tell them you know. I was so scared. I was like, oh, no. Let's just keep it a secret. I have to tell them. Let's just, because I felt like, okay, I know I'm wrong. Clearly, I wasn't supposed to know this. And I went in their file cabinet without their permission. So I'm thinking about all sorts of things. So I was too scared to just tell them verbally. So I wrote them a letter, letting them know what I found out, but so afraid that I did wrong in finding out and how I found out. I begged them even in the letter not to send me away, because I now know, because mind you, clearly it was a secret. So something I wasn't supposed to know. So I was afraid that now that I did know, am I going to be punished for that? However, when they finally came home, they immediately saw the letter and they came to my room. My mom was upset, furious, of course, more so than anything, of the way I found out. My dad, as calm as he is, this is the one that just knows just what to say. And he said, okay. He said, it is true that you're adopted. And he said that your mother was in college at the time, and she just needed for a loving mother and father to take care of you and love you the way that you know that we do. And we could never give you away. We would never, ever give you away. So in all that, there was hugs, there was, comforting me, but I was still nervous. Mind you, I didn't know what to ask, how to ask. anything. So I just stayed quiet. And, throughout those years, yes, I had wonders. You know what those wonders are? The first thing that anyone, I don't have any children, but mind you, because I know so many people with children and I happen to be a godmother, when a baby's born, the first thing you look at is, oh, he or she has their eyes, he or she has their nose. You find the most, distinct details that kind of like bridge that togetherness with that baby, right?
Mhm.
I was wondering, I wonder who I look like. I wonder who, where do I get this from? Where do I get that from? And then you start getting a little bit of a deeper wonder is why did they want to give me away? And so, and then why was this a secret? Why wasn't I supposed to know? How long was I not going to find out? When were they going to tell me? Were they ever going to tell me? So as being that it's kind of hard to really place your feelings because I couldn't relate, I felt, to anybody at that time because everybody in my family were all blood, meaning of course, my brother, my cousins, aunts, everybody was all blood with one another. But then another thing too is I didn't know who else knew. So I held on to that. I didn't at that time, I didn't tell friends, I didn't tell anybody. It wasn't until as you get older, I tend to not think about it or to not care about it. So I thought I used like a protection or a barrier, if you will, or a defense mechanism.
Yes.
So when I turned 18, my father decided to ask me, "Hey, are you curious about wanting to know?" And you know what I said? I was like, well, they gave me away. So hey, they want to know what's going on with me, then they need to come find me. But then my father sent a request to the agency where they adopted me from. It was a Catholic home for unwed mothers. I was born in Austin, Texas. So he wrote them a request to, find out what was necessary to locate my parents. When I saw what I had to do, I had to go to religious counseling. They wanted to make sure that you were ready and prepared for whatever. And at that time, I'm 18. I was clearly not ready, clearly not trying to get prepared. And I had that just, not necessarily a hatred, but you know what, I'm not gonna bother, But then time went on. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Okay, so as time went on, as you mature, whether it's into a man, whether it's into a woman, you start feeling certain things. And then for me, I going to the doctor, for example, when I'm asked, does this run in your family? The answer has to be no. I can't tell them any family history of any family medical history because I honestly just don't know. And
so
then with
that, it seems as though you always felt that there were some pieces to the story missing.
Correct.
Right.
How did that shape your understand? Once you found out, how did that shape your understanding of knowing who you were growing up, or was that still somewhat of a mystery?
It's definitely somewhat of a mystery because, again, I'm in a very loving household. So I did not miss out on being loved, being, grounded for when I did wrong. I lived in the average household, great household. My brother and I, we were raised with the same morals, same standards, same teachings, all of those things. So that I felt no different within my home environment. Number one, no one ever discussed it. It was never brought up. No one initiated the conversation, not until the time when I turned 18 and my father initiated it to have that discussion. I think he felt at that time that perhaps maybe I'd be ready.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me ask you this, Janeen. When you sat around the table with your family, let's go back just a little bit, and you said, I don't look like you. Once you found out that you were adopted, did that part give you closure to to that question? Like it gave you some type of understanding of saying, okay, now I understand why I don't look like them.
Right. So now it was more like, okay, well, you told me something different, right? But then now I said, okay, now it all really truly makes sense. And then it just, because at that time at 8 years old, that just went out of my mind once he told me, well, you resemble your grandfather.
Right.
Absolutely. So that when I'm 11 years old, it just resonated with me that, okay, that's really truly why I don't look like you, because I can't look like you. It's impossible for me to, look like you when I didn't come from you. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So at this point in your life, did you begin to feel where the pieces of your story was missing and now they're being fulfilled?
Absolutely. The fulfillment, to be completely honest with you, was not until the day that I met in person my birth mother.
Mm.
So that day was, I can never forget that day, March 18th of 2023. Okay. I was extremely nervous. Here I am about to, embrace the woman who held me in her womb for 9 months, but reunites with me 46 years later. That is a very long time. So now I feel like, okay, now I found me. Now I'm going to know the origins of where I came from and why I am where I am today. Mm-hmm.
Wow. MJ, I think it's a great time for us to actually go in and talk about family secrets, because family secrets can be very powerful. And sometimes I believe that they are kept. You can jump in and you can agree or disagree with me, MJ, on this. But sometimes I believe that they are kept out of fear, out of shame. And sometimes they, people who keep the secrets feel that they're protecting the other person or the family members or even themselves. So, Janeen, when did you first realize that there were hidden truths surrounding your birth besides what you have already shared with us?
Right. Good, very good question. So just for those who don't know, in a closed adoption, private adoption, your birth certificate is altered. Okay. So my brother's birth certificate has like the little feet. I have just a card of paper that just has my parents' names, which are my adoptive parents' names, and the name that my adoptive parents gave me. I noticed there were certain areas on my birth certificate that are left blank, like the name of the hospital where I was born. That's not on my birth certificate. So certain standard things are changed. Basically, my birth certificate was altered. Okay. So those were like little things that I noticed, okay, this something's different, you know? And other than that, some, you don't, like I said, you don't know who knew. But then when I ultimately learned and started talking about it, because I really didn't talk much about my being adopted until I found my birth mother. And that's when I started disclosing it to certain relatives. Some knew, some were shocked themselves and didn't know. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and going back to your point on keeping things a secret or keeping that a secret, from my experience, I definitely knew that, number one, it was for protection, right? But remember, a closed adoption is, I remember my parents even telling me that back in those days, the birth mother would change their mind and would want their child back.
Right.
So to not have any type of connectivity. They didn't have to worry about those types of challenges. And, you know, the feeling of holding those secrets. A secret you think is something that is either bad, it's looked down upon, right? So you feel that when you feel like you're a secret, it definitely leaves you with some sense of insecurity. You feel a little bit isolated, and it also gives a barrier when it comes to how do I say this? Trust.
Right, right.
Right, because I was kept the secret, because I didn't know. Now, what do I trust now coming my way? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was a challenge for me too, you know, growing up and then not trying to think about it in that way and just trying to dismiss it, trying to keep it also hidden, even though hiding that was also hiding me and keeping me from wanting to find out more about where I came from.
So, Janine, let me ask you this. So, after 46 years coming face to face again with your biological mother, what emotions did you experience when you realized that you and her were going to be in the same room looking face to face for for you, the very first time?
I was extremely nervous, but I wanted to make her feel comfortable. I wanted her to be transparent with me because I was very ready to be transparent with her. I also felt a need to want to protect her because I didn't know her story, you
Mhm.
know, because I can't imagine any mother young just wanting to give away her child forever, because that's what you do, forever. And so I was nervous, I was scared, but at the same time, I was so excited because I just couldn't believe that this day was actually going to happen. And I knew that this day was going to put a close to all of the either doubt, uncertainty, and just the wonder of my existence.
You know what, MJ? Let's pause right here, and then after that pause, Janine, I want you to tell everybody how you actually found your birth mother, how that journey began, and to the point that you actually found her. But MJ, I don't know if you're seeing the comments.
Of course I am. Robin Barber says she's that girl too. She went through the very same thing.
Wow.
Elaine Samuels says this is such a real life moment. Deacon
Yeah.
Joe Riley's hanging out with us. Eddie Hall is also there, and Barbara Sweet Kemp says, "Tell your story, sis. Tell your story."
Thank
Yeah.
you, Barbara.
Hello to everyone that's watching. You know, some of them I can't see, MJ. So I just want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. For those of you who are just coming in, we're talking about family secrets tonight. Our special guest, Miss Janeen Samantha Jones. She found her birth mother, y'all, her biological birth mother after 46 years. 46, y'all. 46 years. She finally had a chance to meet her birth mother. But it started with a family secret.
Yes.
And this just kind of spiraled out of control, but in control, right? And she's here tonight sharing her story with us. So, Janine, tell us how that journey began. How did you find your birth mother?
Woo! Yes. So I decided after much push and support from not only my friends, but my adoptive parents were beyond supportive of me on this journey. And that was key and so important to me. So I decided to go through Ancestry and
Okay.
kid you not, Ancestry, I submitted my sample December of 2020, December 8th to be exact. I got my results back on December 28th, literally 20 days later.
Wow.
2022. When I opened those results, I saw that I matched with 3 people, an aunt and 2 cousins. Later on, I found out that the aunt was my mother's biological sister, one her son, and the other a cousin from my biological father's side. However, I was super nervous, but I felt internally, spiritually, that the aunt was definitely my birth mother's sister. I just felt it. So I prayed on it, meditated on it. January 2nd of 2023, I reached out to her because when you submit your information in these ancestry, in these databases, you can do like a you send them a message through there. But what ended up happening was once I learned who her name was, I did some further research to find out her number and how to contact her. So I sent her a text message and even called and left a voicemail, and she immediately texted me back and reached out. She was very, very hesitant at what she would say to me. So I kind of felt like, okay, she's feeling me out, number one, probably to see if I really am who I say I am. But not only that, mind you all, in 2023, my birthday's March 2nd, so I was literally getting ready to turn 46 years of age. Okay, so you're talking about 40 something years later. You know, why are you appearing now? If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was kind of like the way she was going, but without giving me information. It was more of gathering it from me. And so then did a little bit more research and kind of like paid attention to age and the names, and I realized, okay, this person is my mother. This person is my mother. And I was trying to speak with my aunt once she realized that I realized, yes, this is her. I tried to tell her, hey, help me with reuniting with her. And, but my aunt was like, well, if I may tell you, it was very traumatic, obviously, which I can naturally understand that. So give it some time. Like, we got to give it some time. So I said, hey, you know what? How about we make it so that I repurpose my birth with her by reuniting with her on my birthday. So mind you, it's January 2nd, 2023. My birthday is March 2nd of 2023. Well, March 2nd of 2023 came. That day, my aunt sent me a very sweet but sorrowful email that sorry she couldn't make it happen. And I kid you not, you all, that night, I wrote my mother a very heartfelt letter. I printed out a picture of myself. I went to FedEx, and it was probably the most expensive letter that I ever mailed, $135 to be exact, because I wanted that letter to get there. I wanted her to sign for it. I said right then and there, you are going to have to directly answer to me. Whether I didn't get an answer or not, I felt like I need my closure. I needed my closure because I had such a high hope and a high expectation. But I kid you not, a few hours after she received the letter, I received the sweetest text from her, basically saying, I received your heartfelt letter, your beautiful picture. Just give me a moment to take it all in. And it won't be long. And we had our first phone call. And then we scheduled a date, which was March 18th. And there we have it.
Wow. Oh, let me tell you, this is emotional even for me. And I just thinking, not having your birth mother for that period of time, and family secrets, they just don't affect you as an individual. Like we said before, it affects more than one person. they can affect an entire generation. So now that you found your birth mother, through this journey, did you begin to see how the secret surrounding you affected more than just you?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because I can tell you, let's talk about the people that did know and had to hold on to the secret.
Right.
Right. So that for them had to, and I asked, like, I had certain cousins that I was close to knew. And one of my cousins, who, I mean, I adore her. She's listening. She knows who she is. She was just like, I just couldn't wait. I was more than ready for them to tell you. And she was like, she would wonder, does she know yet? But she knew she couldn't say anything. So she felt like, almost like robbed of going through the motions with me throughout those years, because I didn't have anybody to discuss it with, because they didn't know how I would feel. They didn't know if I knew. So they knew better than to say anything, right? But then holding on to that is like, even hard for them. And then, they don't know what to ask. They don't know how I feel. And so, there's all this hesitancy. Or when I did, there are some family members that I said, hey, I know I'm adopted now. And they'll be like, oh, but like, shh, like, no, it's okay. You're like blood. Like, shh, like, don't even worry about that. And I'm like, no, I am. Like, I'm not a secret. I'm alive here. I'm well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an adoptee and I'm going to wear it proud. Like, there's no scarlet letter for being an adoptee. God put me here for a purpose, and I'm living now through telling my story. And eventually you all will see more to come, but it's about healing and really putting out the very, very challenging things that we go through in life, right out in the open, because we can't keep pacifying these things, because we're only pacifying it. We're never gonna grow and mature into where we really need to grow with pride, with strength,
Right.
with comfort, and knowing that you are valued. You're valued. Mm-hmm.
So before we jump into healing, let's talk a little bit about how unspoken truths and hidden stories affect the families across generations. Because I heard you mention, well, your cousin knew, but your cousin dare not say anything. How does that affect families?
Oh, well, I can tell you right now, it keeps a division, right? Because when you feel like you have to be quiet about something, you tend to step away so that you don't make the mistake and say the wrong thing. So then you almost feel like you have to isolate yourself and detach from that person, from that individual. You can't say why, you can't explain why. So it's safer to just not bond with this person in the way that that you want to and you should, because you don't want to mess up and do something that may affect that secret.
And you know what, MJ, I think it just put, the cousins that knew, it kind of put them in a awkward position.
Absolutely.
Even after Janeen was like, no, I'm adopted. They didn't even know how to receive that and or respond to it. And it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, don't talk about it, because maybe they didn't know what was going to come after that.
But can I tell you what they did? What some did though, instead of coming to me when they found out, because some of them, because I think I posted once, I actually did. I posted the day that my adopted parents met my birth mother and her husband. I posted that up, showing them, look, like, I finally met my birth mother. And my cousins, instead of coming to me saying, oh, I'm so happy for you, or what have you, you know what they did? They all called my adoptive parents first.
Wow.
Before they would even reach out to me. Mind you, at this time, it was 3 years ago. I was 46 years old then. So I'm thinking, okay, y'all could have came to me, but they wanted to go. They was like, I'm going to go, to my aunt and uncle first. And kind of like, do you know she knows now? Like, and how do you feel about that? Like, they wanted to make sure that the people who created the secret, they wanted to make sure that the secret was okay for them to now talk about it.
Talk about it.
So isn't that something?
Absolutely. So once the truth was revealed, real healing began. So once your healing started, after discovering your birth mother, did it bring closure or did it bring more questions that you had carried for years?
It brought so much closure because what ended up happening is that my birth mother told me who my biological father was. She tried to locate him, but found out that he passed away in 2011.
Mhm.
But she knew he had two daughters. So I have half sisters. And she sent me like an electronic obituary, and I looked up he was like one of like 11 kids, like, and there was one name that stood out. And I went on Facebook, put her name in Facebook, and you're not gonna believe this. This is how you know God is in the midst of all this, right?
Wow.
So I put my aunt's name in Facebook, and one of my spiritual sisters, who I happen to be the godmother of her children, she and I are very close, and she was the one that helped me find my aunt and my birth mother. Okay. So just keep that in mind. But when I went and I saw that her twin sister was a mutual friend of my father's sister, my biological father's sister, I was shocked. So I went digging on her page. I see my aunt sit with her everywhere. So I called her and I was like, Friend, are you sitting down? Because no, are you sitting down? She's like, yeah. Right. And I said, pull up this name in Facebook. And she was like, oh yeah, that's my mom's really good friend from St. Louis. I'm like, what? So then of course, and now here comes a conference call. So her mom gets on the phone and tells me, look, Janeen, you need to talk to your aunt. You really need to talk to your aunt. And she's the best person for you to talk to who will, I no doubt, unite you with your sisters. I kid you not. My aunt calls and it's a Zoom call. So she sees me and she's looking at my features and she's like, yep. She, no doubt, she could tell that I was her niece. And she was like, you have sisters. So I was so scared because I was like, what if, again, here I go, the secret. What if they don't know? What if they reject me? What if, right? So then I go back to my adoptive parents and they're like, listen, if you don't take this opportunity, this is nothing but a heaven send. You better let that lady help you get to your sisters.
Right.
So I called my aunt back and I said, okay, I'm ready. She goes, all right, I'm gonna call you right back. She was not gonna let me change my mind, right? So she reached out to my sisters and she gently tells them that, oh, I met this, this young lady, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, what ended up happening was she calls me back and she's like, you're not gonna believe this. I call your sisters and I tell them the story about how I met this young lady. She's in her 40s. She was adopted. And my sisters were like, oh, what? You met our sister? And she's like, what? You knew? And they were like, yeah, Daddy told us about her. And they knew and they did try to find me. But so I'll get to that in a second. So they all end up calling me. We're on a call. And my sisters, here I go again, so they're interviewed because they want to hear what I have to say. So my story matches with what our biological father told us. But they were like, okay, Janeen, one thing's missing, something's off. And my sister said, your name. And I said, oh, how could I forget? I was born Nikki Nicole. And that's when they were like, okay, like, that's when, the emotions came and they knew and they were like, you know what, we tried to find you, but we said, you know what, God will send her, because obviously my father passed away, but then they were like, God is going to send her to us in his time. And sure enough, at the age of 46, I united with my sisters and it feels like they said it to me once. Oh, you just feels like you went away from vacation and now you're back because we're so bonded. We are so bonded. I couldn't have asked for more. And I ended up meeting more cousins, meeting 3 of my father's siblings. And it's been, and I'm still going through this journey. Because I will say that with my birth mother, there's been some challenges. I know that she's gone through some emotional battles with this. So we stopped speaking, but we do text on occasions. And so I'm going to keep faith. I still have grace. Whenever she's ready, I'm going to have open arms and receive her because God doesn't make mistakes.
Okay, so now that you said that, let's really jump on forgiveness. How
Yeah.
important was forgiveness in this journey?
So let me just say this. So I am probably an adoptee, and I'm sure that there's many out there that can relate. I grew up in a family of love. So I wasn't missing out on love, but I will tell you that I wanted my birth mother to know, listen, I wanted you to know that what you did was not in vain. I need you to feel whole within yourself that you made the right decision that was best for you at that time that you made that decision. I know it's easy for me to say, but it was, I think, hard for her to do. So I was ready to try to figure out how to build a relationship with her. But I think, here it is, I'm 46 years old at this time. And she's come to my home. She knows my career. She's met my she's met my parents. And she's probably thinking, well, where do I fit in? How do I fit in? And that has to be a lot on her. But I will tell you that so part of her making her decision had a lot to do with the influence of her mother. So I will tell you that true forgiveness began right there between she and her mother. And that was such a beautiful, beautiful moment because now I was able to meet my maternal grandmother and I see my mother look and see the me bond with my grandmother, and I could notice total forgiveness after 46 years. So I witnessed that forgiveness. I didn't hold anything against her because, mind you, let me tell you all something. I realized that God's timing again is the perfect timing because I started this journey being spiritually grounded and emotionally mature because you honestly don't know what you are walking into. You don't know if you're going to be rejected. You don't know if you're going to be accepted. You don't know what the reasons behind why you were given away. And in some instances, as you all know, because I'm sure you've seen stories and heard of stories, some things are horrible. But then some things are, just because of the times that we're in. And you know how society is. You're talking about the 70s. She was unaware, and, her parents were known and doing great things publicly in that community. And that is, they don't want to be shunned because they have a child that's not married with a baby. And I understood all of that and I accepted that, but I just wanted her to know, okay, it's time for you to now heal so that you don't have to hold on to what you did back 46 years ago. And you would think, oh, after 46 years it's okay. No, because I don't understand and I don't know how she coped those years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You did something very powerful right at the beginning before you started this journey. You said, I was spiritually mature going into this, the power of prayer and a community of people that was holding you up in prayer, because that can be very emotionally challenging, not only for you, but being able to understand and the willingness to forgive your mother.
Yes.
State that she's in during that time.
If I may interject and point out something to you, so important. When I say spiritually grounded, you also have to have a covering that is walking with you in that walk. And I don't know if Barbara is still listening, Barbara Sweet, but Barbara Sweet and Gail, they daily, as from the time that I got my results back, daily they would call and check on me and pray for me. But I kid you not, the the day that I sent off that letter, I was scared. I was exhausted emotionally, physically, and mentally. And I kid you not, they called me at the right time. And I said, I did it. I sent the letter. And they prayed the strongest prayer you could ever imagine. I never felt so, just so full in my life that I literally had to pull my car over and just sit and just let God work on me, because that was the turning point. And I knew that that was going to be the hit or miss on whether or not I was going to reunite with my birth mother. So it is key and important to align. Alignment is so important when you're taking these types of challenging journeys. Yes.
Man.
Family and friends, it's conversations with them too. Your boy MJ, along with,
Lady Des.
and we are talking about seeing the unseen when God reveals the missing piece to your story. And we're talking to the very beautiful Miss Janeen Samantha Jones, who is an adoptee who found her biological mother, and sharing her story and her journey of reuniting after 46 years. And you know, a lot of times we always have those myths and those don't tells and what families should and should not do. Everything that you've talked about, then Janine, has been about God's divine timing.
Yes.
And Mother Elaine said throughout the years, God was preparing you for this time.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
And you know, your story connects with the message that Lady Des has talked about on the remix. So I've heard, you know, seeing the unseen when God reveals the missing pieces of your story. Looking back now, do you believe the timing of discovering your birth mother was in the divine plan? I already know the answer.
Absolutely. Timing was perfect for me to have met her, because now I'm about to, which I've started already, about to live truly out my purpose. And I can't wait to share more coming up very soon.
Oh, sound like a movie.
Yeah, you never know.
Janine, I want you to know that Barbara Sweet is here. She is tuned in. She's listening, and she says, "I'm here, sis. We will never leave you." And I talk about this all the time. MJ can attest to this, that we talk about how important our village is, our community of people. That when we're going through something, the people that we surround ourselves with, make sure that they're able to pray you through. Make sure they're able to encourage you and speak life into you, because there are going to be moments where you feel that you can't go on, that you can't continue, because life is life and life be happening for everybody. So you a set of people, a community of people like your Barbara Sweets, like your Gail Says, that can pray you through and say, sis, listen, we will never leave you. You trust God, trust the process, stand still, love, forgive, whatever they spoke to you to prepare you for this place. Because believe it or not, like you said, the word alignment, I believe that God aligns certain people for certain situations in your life. You may have some that may not even stay. They're just there for a reason. Then you got those that's there for a season. And then you have those that's there for a lifetime. But I do believe that God has alignment of people that is there waiting for us. And that's so important.
Yes. And also when that alignment starts to happen, you're going to also notice those that are not fit for that journey will fade away. And you can't worry about that,
Right.
because the ones that are with you are meant to be there for you, for your divine and God's divine purpose and will for your life.
So now, what message would you give to other adoptees who may still be searching for answers? What would you tell them?
First of all, you are whole. You are whole. You are purposeful. You are here for a purpose. You are God's perfect creation to begin with. And to do it now. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Try now. Keep trying. keep at it. And you have to be spiritually ready and emotionally ready to receive the unknown, because you don't know. For example, I never knew I could grieve a man that I never met. My biological father, I'm knowing him through my sisters. They taught me, and they're teaching me, and they showed me everything about my father, and it's connecting me to him. And he's not even here with us in the physical realm, but I did grieve him. And so but I'm just gonna say, keep the faith, and make sure again that you have a support system, and seek counseling, seek help, because where you might not feel that people understand, please know that you are not alone. You're not alone.
And Janeen, what message would you give to families who are holding on to hidden truths? Now we see we have one in the chat that say, "I'm that girl." You know, when we went back and saw the views from even the segment, it was over 1,000 views. People were actually able to relate to what you were saying, the missing pieces of their story and holding on to hidden truths. So what message would you give to those families?
I will say this: when you hold a secret, you are delaying healing, you are delaying trust, or better yet, you're actually going to be betraying somebody, because you don't know how they're going to find out. Because usually the truth will always come to the light, and we all know that truth is freedom. Truth will set you free. So who better than to express the truth than the one who holds it? And make sure that that person, you're giving peace. Give that person the peace that they need to be more of a sound and whole individual. And not only that, when you do that, you also build yourself as well. You're going to feel so much better once you release that truth. And it's just a great feeling once it's known. And I mean, it's an uplifting feeling to just be honest, because at the end of the day, God's going to see it anyway. And be careful how it's going to come forth, because it may come forth what you think you're protecting, you're actually could be harming.
Now, Janeen, Barbara also said that you are there for everybody that you come in contact with. So it's only right that everybody be there for you, especially her. So I get it. I do. Let's talk about honesty and breaking that generational, emotional. How can honesty help future generations? How can we dispel those rumors of what happens in our house don't need to stay in the house?
Right. So we need to know that being transparent is key. It's healthy for you. When you hold on, when you harbor negative things or what you think might be negative, you're even hurting yourself just medically, like stress. Think about it. It's a trickle down effect. And even the way you love, you don't know, you may not even know how to love because you're holding on to something. You are blocking so much freedom and so much peace from your life by holding on to secrets. Once you release, you can then begin and try to start that healing. You can be more expressive. Who you hurt, learn how to start that forgiveness process. Not just about them forgiving you, but you forgiving yourself and holding yourself accountable. I think a lot of times we hold secrets because we don't want to hold ourselves accountable to where we fall at fault with those secrets. Once we can relinquish that, we then hold ourselves accountable, and then we can heal and go forward on everything.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
That was so good, MJ. Yes,
Janeen,
because
I really want to say thank you so much for sharing your story and your heart with us tonight. After 46 years, I know that you do it repetitiously, but I can feel that it never becomes easy, to continue reliving this story. So my heart goes out to you. And just thank you for being transparent.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And you said it, MJ. 46 years is a long time, and she's just fresh and new into this. And I believe that now, from this moment on, or from back when she actually found her birth family, from that time on, God is going to just continue to reveal, and she's going to continue to learn more about herself, about her family, about just who she is as an individual, her identity. She found herself, so that, I think that is something to look forward to, because every day is going to be probably something new.
Yes, and it has. You're absolutely right. Yes, that was 3 years ago. March 18th will be 3 years that I reunited with my birth mother. And yes, and I found me.
So, family, just know that we don't have to let family secrets, the ones that may shape us, but what, Des? They do not define us.
Yeah, they don't define us. They don't define us. And your journey, Janeen, reminds us that sometimes the truth may be hidden for years, but when it is time for it to be revealed, it can bring healing, it can bring understanding, and it could bring freedom. God's divine timing is everything.
Yes, it is.
So beautiful. I want to go ahead, Des.
No. I was just saying, so we thank you. We thank you for taking us through that journey, because I believe those who are watching, those who are going to watch the replay, they're going to find hope in your story, because 46 years is a long time. Mind you, your mother probably had already given up looking or wondering, like, am I going to ever meet her? Because that is a long time. And then now you reappear. God
I don't know. I'm not sure of her coping mechanisms. And one day, prayerfully, as time goes on, and as she's able to grasp and heal things, prayerfully, she'll be able to tell her story and help in the healing process as well. So, but yes, I can't imagine it. So I don't know how she was able to cope for 46 years, because the truth is, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's just a powerful movement of what God is doing. Now, before we close out, I know I didn't want to hold you all so long, but the story is just so empowering. Janeen, what is next for you?
So next is to continue on with my journey. On 3/18/2026, I'm going to launch something very, very important to not only me, but something that I feel is going to resonate with everybody around the world. And so I have more to tell. On March 18th of 2023, again, it's the 3rd year anniversary of me meeting my biological family and, of course, my birth mother. So stay tuned, y'all, for more of I Found Me.
Yeah. So, Janeen, you're going to make me come back on a Wednesday night and do a very special edition of Conversations with them two, just to get the story. Is that what you're telling me?
I sure am.
I
sure am.
And you're saying this? I can't believe it.
Yes. Yes.
He is, listen, Janeen, he's going to start getting antsy. It's after 9:00. He is not a night hawk at all.
Oh yeah, that's why the time changed from 8 to 8.
Exactly. And who was late? But anyway, y'all. But Janeen, thank you so very much. If we have to do a special edition, we will do that. We will do that because of what you're doing and how you're sharing your story. The secret may not be adoption for some. The secret may be something else. And it's piling guilt, it's piling hurt, and division amongst families. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't let it out, we will never find true freedom, correct? So I thank you for being that trailblazer for so many that is coming up, that is watching right now and coming up behind you, to say it's okay. If you're an adoptee, it's okay.
Absolutely.
You're here for a purpose. And Miss Barbara Sweet said, finding your birth mom was delayed, but it wasn't denied. We
Yes.
stand with this and all of your endeavors. And I believe it was Elaine that says, you're definitely living life on purpose.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're truly living on purpose. Mr. Joe Riley says he love you, Janeen.
Thank you, Joe.
Yes. Nothing happens before God's time. And stay tuned, everyone. Yeah.
So, family, we want to thank each and every one of you for watching and listening to Conversations with Them Too. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the conversation. And don't forget to get the book, You Are the Stage. You can get it on Amazon or by simply emailing convowiththem2@gmail.com.
Wow. Oh, you just used your whole radio voice for that, didn't you, MJ?
Don't be a hater.
And I love it. Okay. So listen, y'all. Thank you, Janeen. One more time. I can't say thank you enough. Thank you all for tuning in tonight for Conversations with Them Too, as we talked about family secrets and how it shapes us, how it affects our identity. God revealing his story to us. Things that we don't know, but we're gonna even dive more deeper into this story with Janeen. We're gonna be following her through this journey as her journey unfolds and as we give it to you. So just stay connected, stay tuned, and I believe that's it. MJ, can I tell you, get off the stage?
You can, but before we get off the stage, Janeen said something that was very, very important. Stop holding those secrets, because somebody out there may be searching for a missing piece of their story.
And you got it, right?
Absolutely. And thank you all for allowing your platform for me to share this important message.
Absolutely. All right, family, don't forget to catch us back at our new time, Monday nights at 8 o'clock. Right here is Conversations with Them Too. I'm your boy, MJ. She is
Lady Des.
And until next Monday, much love.
Good night, everybody.